Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the program. You are watching Andrew Richter, the television show, as we continue our march on Season 4. Now, if you've seen our recent shows, and judging by my ratings, you've noticed that we've gone through a lot of local stuff pertaining to the local cities and school district. Well, now, in today's show, we're going to focus on what the legislature is doing, which went back into session in late January, unfortunately for all of us. And they have got a lot of things on their plate, and we're going to bring those things to you, how they may affect you, our local communities, our schools, all sorts of things like that, all sorts of good stuff here in this half hour. Let me introduce to you the local extraordinaire here, Mr. Jason Bradley. Welcome back.
Again. Thank you very much for having me, Andrew.
That's right. You know, I tell you, you weren't on the first 70 episodes, but you've been on a lot since. So I've been reading the email. It keeps saying, have Jason back. So he is back. Well, first thing we're going to discuss here is the bonding bills. That you've probably been hearing a lot about bonding and the need for that. And it's been called a jobs bill and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, don't laugh yet. And we want to go over a little bit about what was in the bonding bill last year and what is in the proposed bonding bill for 2012. Now, just a little history on this. What was in the bonding bill last year, rarely does a bonding bill get passed in the odd year of the legislature. I think it was done as part of the budget compromise schmaz at the end. And it's often portrayed as something to rebuild our infrastructure. Would you not agree?
That's what they often say, but just so that everybody else understands exactly what a bonding bill is, because our state does it, our cities do it, every other year they figure out their budget. This is money that they have, that they get in revenues from taxes and all their other means of producing revenue. This is what they have to spend.
Now, Jason, on this show, we call it tax dollars, not revenue. Remember that.
Yeah.
Don't adopt their words.
Just so that if they read the budget, they know what they're looking at, because that's what it's going to say. Yeah. Okay? Anytime you read a budget, it talks about revenue. Well, that's the stuff that they collect from us. Bonding is money they haven't yet collected from us, but eventually over time they're going to pay it off because they build it into their budget. That they're going to pay it off X% a year.
It's like putting it on a credit card,
yes,
basically.
Yes, basically it is. And
what we should say, too, is over the last 4 years, the state of Minnesota has bonded over $2 billion. So and that's not including what your cities, your counties have bonded. So we're talking over $2 billion. But there's a perception out there. The reason we bring this up, the reason I want to bring this up, is there's a perception that it's all about roads and bridges and it's all about fixing potholes. Well, I wonder how many people who think that actually took a peek, especially people out there who masquerade as journalists, who took a peek in what was in the 2011 bonding bill. $531 million is how much money we bonded, i.e., spent and don't have. And actually only $56 million went to, quote, transportation. That's only about 11% of the money. Now, some of the money went to local projects, state aid roads, that kind of thing. And we should say that a lot of those projects are done with gas tax money, license renewals. It's not like that's all we're spending.
And that's where it's supposed to come from.
Yeah, I mean, technically, that's what we're told we're paying that tax for.
Right.
Is for that. But in looking at some of these other things that was in this 2011 bonding bill, you have any idea how much money our colleges get in bonding bills?
$1 million?
Well, actually, the University of Minnesota got $88 million just for the U. MnSCU, which is the system of the colleges, got $132 million, and one science and engineering building in St. Cloud State University got $42 million. For one building, they got $42 million. There's $4 million to upgrade the state capitol, $19 million for correctional facilities, $17 million for, quote, natural resources. I mean, it's just a who's who. It's like handing out candy, you know. This little group gets theirs. I mean, the things that were left out of there, too. I mean, $20 million for a new Saints Stadium. That did not make the final bill. Upgrades to civic centers in Rochester and Mankato and St. Cloud did not make the final bill. But I mean, all these little goodies that we're paying for, again, I just think the perception's out there that this is stuff we have to have, stuff we need, and really it's little goodies for certain areas.
Right. And there are some things where they create jobs or they give the opportunity for entrepreneurs to come along and create jobs. But over and above, I mean, most of these things are just more government programs to be able to allow people that don't want to go and create jobs to take advantage of things.
Well, and I think too, calling it a jobs bill is so misleading. I mean, you look at this was passed on July 20th of last year. How many of these projects do you think have even broken ground yet? And here the governor is out here proposing $775 million more this year. You know, I mean, a jobs bill. I mean, think of all the things that the government could do to create jobs, or as I say, get out of the way so the private sector could create jobs, whether that's less taxes, whether that's phasing out a tax, whether that's reducing spending, whether that's getting rid of regulations, whether that's making those are things they can do tomorrow, and yet a jobs bill is putting money on a credit card to build something next year.
Yeah, well, you know, government, they've learned from business. You have to take out a loan and finance things in order to, right? Isn't that the way it works?
But the problem is that we're not creating wealth. We're redistributing wealth, and that's really where I draw.
I mean, that's the problem. I mean, we're making it more difficult for businesses to do business in Minnesota. It's unreal, all of the regulations for a Minnesota. Did you hear a figure the other day how long it takes if you wanted to start a business in Minnesota?
How long it takes to start one or make a profit?
To start one, just to open your doors. It takes forever to get everything in line before you can even open your doors. Most people can't afford to sit and not make money for that long.
Well, and then you'd add to it, it's not just the state stuff. It's the local stuff, the fees, the licenses, the permits, the zoning requirements. I mean, all the obstacles that are out there to, well, not just businesses, but personal liberty too. And those things seem like they stay in place forever. And we're going to bond to, grow the size of the St. Cloud Civic Center. And look, I don't know what the state of the Civic Center is. It is a public building.
Yes.
But how anyone thinks that is priority number one is just beyond me. It's unbelievable. And to look at Dayton's bonding, and look, you know, I'm picking on Governor Dayton, but quite frankly, neither side is very good on this issue. Governor Pawlenty signed the two largest bonding bills in Minnesota history. You look at the federal level, there's all sorts of little, Bridge to Nowhere was, I can't remember the guy's name from Alaska, Stevens, I think, and all the little pork projects that come out of there. Neither side's got a monopoly, in my opinion, on smart distribution of our money.